So Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th Canto, Chapter 10, Text 8. The pastimes of the Supreme Lord Ramachandra. Of course, we all know that the Ramayana is a very extensive literature, but it gets a summary within the Srimad Bhagavatam. And so everything is compact. Text 8. Ya Satya Pasha Parivita Pituni Desham Strainasya Chapi Shirasa Jagrihe Sabarya Rajam Shriyam Pranayima Surido Nivasham Tyaktva Yayovanamasum Iva Mukta Sangha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Carrying out the order of his father, who was bound by a promise to his wife, Lord Ramachandra left behind his kingdom, opulence, friends, well-wishers, residents, and everything else. Just as a liberated soul gives up his life and went to the forest with Sita. Purport. Maharaj Dasharat had 3 wives. One of them, Kaikeyi, served him very pleasingly, and he therefore wanted to give her a benediction. Kaikeyi, however, said that she would ask for the benediction when it was necessary. At the time of the coronation of Prince Ramachandra, Kaikeyi requested her husband to enthrone her son Bharat and send Ramachandra to the forest. Maharaj Dasarat, being bound by his promise, ordered Ramachandra to go to the forest, according to the dictation of his beloved. And the Lord, as an obedient son, accepted the order immediately. He left everything without hesitation, just as a liberated soul or great yogi gives up his life without material attraction. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vacha Padidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum dhangaite girim Yatkripa tamam bande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. Hare Ram. Srimad Bhagavatam is said to be the Amala Purana, the spotless Purana. This is where we can verify what is truth. We're living in a time where, although it is said of Kali Yuga, 4 limbs make the bull of Dharma stand strong. Truthfulness, cleanliness, mercifulness, and austerity. In the age of Kali, only 1 leg is left, and that leg is the leg of truthfulness. But that leg of truthfulness of the bull of Dharma is also getting hacked every day. Still, though, we see that people are interested in truth. These days we say, I want to speak my truth. And my truth must be taken very seriously, because it is my truth. And my truth then becomes my identity. If you don't accept my truth, you are denying my very existence. So truth is still cherished. And how are we to know the truth in the age of Kali? Then it is said that Krishna swa dhammo bhagate, when Krishna left to the spiritual world, he left Dharma, Jnana, Divisaha. He left with Dharma, he went with knowledge, but he left behind this Purana. Purana ko dunodita. That in this age, what do we have? Kalo nasta drishameka. Our vision is not good. We cannot see what is factual. And so Krishna didn't leave with religion and knowledge. He left behind this Purana, this Bhagavatam, which is meant to give light to the people of the age who are blind in the dark, trying to find their way. And so, to understand also about the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra, we take shelter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is Yad Vaishnava Priyam, very dear to the Vaishnavas. And there's a lot of controversy around Ramayana, which is authoritative, which is correct. We are given the guidance that we should not try to be too critical of Shastra. Of course, in our line, we are hearing mainly from Valmiki Ramayana. But different sages have seen the pastimes of the Lord in different ways. Just as one individual may be seen by a few others from different perspectives. Take, for example, Matichi. At home, there are those who see her as mother. Others may see as wife. At work, colleague. Depends if she's a manager or she's the boss. So it's one individual, but seen from different points of view. Also, the pastimes of the Lord are being discussed by many sages from different angles of vision. So if there's controversy, which is the right Leela, for the Vaishnavas, we turn to Srimad Bhagavatam. And so we read from the Srimad Bhagavatam today. So who is Lord Rama? The Shastra describes the Lord as Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam. Adyam Purana Purusha Navayovanamcha. Advaitam means that he is non-dual, one without a second. Achyutam means he is infallible. Anadim, he is beginningless. Ananta Rupam, he has unlimited forms. Also, it is said, Ananta Rupam, he has a form which is endless. He is the original person. At the same time, he's always looking like a young person, Navayovanamcha, always fresh. And this Lord is not easy to understand just by bringing good brains from a university. It is said there that Dulam adulabam atma bhakto. It's difficult to understand him. But no, it's not difficult to understand him when there's atma bhakti, when there's devotion within the heart. So Brahma is testifying, Govindam Adipurusham Tamam Bhajami. This is the Lord that I worship. And he goes on to say, Ramani Mutisu Kala Niyamena Tishnan. Nanavatara Makarot Bhuvaneshu Kintu. Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paraman Pumanyo Govinda Maripurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Relevant, that verse, Ramadi. Beginning from Ram, there's so many other incarnations, so many murtis of the Lord. Nana avataram. You cannot count them. Just as you cannot count the waves on the ocean. So that Supreme Personality of Godhead descended into this world. Krishna explains in the Gita why he comes. Yada yada hi dhamasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam adamsat. Tadatmanam Shijamiham. That wherever and whenever there's a increase in religion and a decrease in religion, I myself appear. To do what? To establish Dharma. Therefore, Dharma samstapanata. Sambhavami yuge yuge. So the Lord came, and he didn't come alone. He came with his brothers who are themselves also God. Someone may say, well, we thought that there was one God. How is it now that you're talking about Lakshman and Shatrughna and Bharat? They are also God. So this philosophy is known as, it is very technical, polymorphic bi-monotheism. Hare Krishna. So we understand theism, accepting faith. Monotheism, those are faiths that understand that there's one divinity. Then now we have this bi. It's also popular these days. Also polymorphic is there. So poly means many, morphic means it changes into different forms. So it is one God who changes into different forms, but then by that same one God manifests in two. Therefore Radha Krishna, Sita Ram, Lakshmi Narayan. So in the Bhagavad philosophy, we get to also study who God is and how he manifests. And so this same God in the Brahma Samhita is said, the example of one candle, it lights many other candles. And if you walk into the room, you see so many candles, but they are all giving off the same power of heat and light. So someone may come and think, oh, these are all the same. Yes, they are the same. But still, there is that candle that lit all the others. Therefore, one God, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes, he has expanded into different forms. And in this particular incarnation, he comes with other divinities who are playing the role of his brothers. So Ram, Lakshman, Shatrughna, and Bharat. Here we are being transported into the Leela. Ramayana is can be very sad. It pulls the heartstrings. It also can divide friends because the different characters go through different things, and some may relate to some feelings, some may not. So Ramayana, what does it mean? It is the epic or the journey of Ram. And this Ramayana is very beautiful in that it speaks in poetic terms, so much things that are sweet. There's war, there's romance, there's betrayal, there's intrigue, there are demons and demonesses. It's a whole blockbuster. Some of them, we may think, are they really such characters existing? So mainly, these mythical other characters, we don't have to fully comprehend how they exist. But what is beautiful is that we get to hear that they are also going through dilemmas in life. They are also having to deal with conflicts. They have emotions that they're going through just as we do. And they make choices which bring about certain consequences just as we do. So we can learn from them how to live our lives. So Mahabharata, for example, the driving question is, what is Dharma? So the whole epic is trying to demonstrate what is Dharma. In the Ramayana, the driving question is, what is the behavior of the ideal person? And so we are introduced to Ram, who is the archetypal character of Dharma, the person who can exemplify ideal behavior. In the Bhagavatam, we are hearing what should one do, what type of dharma should one follow, especially one who's about to die. And there we get to hear Savai, Pungsang Parodamo, Yato Bhakti Adokshati, Haituki Apratyata, Yayatma Suprasidati. One who's about to die, that means all of us. We don't know when. It will be in 7 days, within 7 days. Monday, Tuesday, or Friday, one of those. What should we do to become fully satisfied? Yayatma Suprasidati. Devotion, bhakti. To who? Adokshaja, that personality who is beyond the range of the material senses. That devotion, if it is unmotivated and uninterrupted, is the best quality. So Bhagavatam focuses on awakening pure devotional service. In the Ramayana, although Ram is understood as we described to be God, but the focus is not on his divinity, but more on his humanity, or seeming humanity. That the Lord has come to walk and exemplify ideal behavior. So he's known as Maryada Purushottam. Now we try to enter into the Leela. In Ayodhya, the day before the coronation, Ram is like the life of the residents of Ayodhya. You know how you wouldn't want anyone to end your life. You will fight and beg for your life. It's very dear to us. So, one who is more dear to even the lives of the citizens. That is how dear the Lord is. He's the Prananath. He's so wonderful, Ram. Everyone is looking forward to him becoming the king. Of course, Dasarat was inspired, as we should. He thought, hey man, I'm getting old here. I started counting a few gray hairs, now they are full, my head is all white. So contemplating his own mortality, he thought, hey, I have a son who's qualified. Actually, he should become king. And he thought, why wait? Let's coronate him tomorrow. And the whole city then was preparing for that. But then, at another palace, the palace of Kaikeyi, who is a very dear wife to Dasarat, she is also there, and her maidservant Mantara comes. To see Mantara comes, and she's in a sulking mood. And Kaikeyi is, what's wrong with you? You always have like this sad face. Why are you? And she said, how are you smiling and happy? You don't know what's going on? What's going on? Ram is being coronated tomorrow. Oh, this is wonderful. So what's the problem? Silly child, you don't understand anything. Don't you think that something's up? Why is it that Dasarat just decided that Ram should be coronated tomorrow when your son Bharat is out of town? Bharat is just, he comes and goes. There was no big reason. But Dasarat had been inspired. So Mantra said no. Dasarat made sure that Bharat is not here. And now when Ram becomes king, you think that Koshala is going to let you enjoy anything here? You're going to become like a maidservant. And you don't know what Ram will do once he's king. He may end up banishing Bharat. What to speak of banishing him, he can have him executed. So, Kaikeyi, listening to Mantara's diatribe, slowly, her smile went away. And she started to think, wow, really there's a conspiracy here. And she had given him a nice necklace for her service, Mantra just tossed that thing aside. When are you still fascinated with these trinkets? We're going to lose everything. And Kaikeyi understood, oh, okay, this is serious. Now the maternal feelings kicked in. Like any mother, she's always concerned about the welfare of her children. My dear Bharat, he'll be banished, worse, he'll be killed. I must protect him. So immediately she thought, she was trying to think what to do. Now Gurudev had already entered into the heart. Be careful what you hear and from whom you hear it from. But by hearing we know that we become bound in this material world. Also through hearing we become liberated. So what we are hearing is really crucial to our position in this world. When she was concerned what to do, Mantara, say something. Oh, remember that you had rescued Ram from the battlefield, not Dasarath. You saved him from imminent death. And he was so happy, he said, ask for any benediction. And you said, I don't need to take any benediction from you. If anything, you'll give it to me in the future. So that future has come today. You go to him and you tell him to banish Ram. She was shocked. Okay, banish Ram. But anyway, yes. For 14 years into the forest, and to crown Bharat tomorrow as king. Kaikeyi, hook, line and sinker, fell for the propaganda of Mantra. We live in a world of propaganda. We have a lot of gurus, as we say, the one-eyed gurus. These days, it's very portable. Gurudev can also come with you. He's in your pocket, and you can extend Gurudev's teachings onto the smart television, which is right in the middle of the home. There's the best seats are there to hear from Gurudev. So, disinformation. Mantra gave the wrong information, but Kaikeyi took it. And when she heard it, her natural propensity to protect kicked in. And then that made her heart very hard. But in Zulu, watinta bafazi, watinta imbogodo. Imbogodo means a rock, and then a solid one. So in protecting, there can be no one as fierce as a mother to protect her children. So she went to Dasarath. He came at the end of the day. He's probably whistling some nice bhajan on his way to see his favorite wife. Very cheerful. He knocks, no answer. He knocks, no answer. He opens. Kaikeyi. He's happy to announce tomorrow is the day. There is no Kaikeyi to receive him. As he looks around, there's a Kaikeyi lying on the floor, all disheveled. Practically pale in the face, disinterested, doesn't even look at him. He wants the beautiful glance from his wife. What is wrong? What is wrong? Who has done anything to you? Didn't even give him the time of day. No, you can tell me, please. And I'll take care of it. Someone has wronged you, I'll take care of it. You need anything, you let me know. He promised sun, moon, and stars. There's nothing I would not do for you. Just tell me. And then when he's sworn his allegiance to her and given promises to fulfill any of her desires, he said, remember, you promised me 2 boons. You promised me boons when I helped you. No problem. I remember. Today I want you to fulfill them. Why do you have to sulk because of this? Just tell me, I'll do it immediately. She said, banish Ram to the forest for 14 years. That hit Dasarath's heart like a rocket. What? He couldn't believe. And you crowned Bharat. He looked at her and her face was not changing. Like you heard me. Dasarath tried to say, no, come on. There must be something else you want. Ram, why? You love Ram. She was unflinching. When Dasharatha realized that she was serious, he fainted in disbelief. You know, sometimes you come expecting a pat, and then you can get a fist right on the nose. He was caught so off guard. What has happened to this woman? Why would she want something like this? When he came to consciousness, still she was unrelenting. So they say hard hearts. What do? They break hearts. Her heart had become so closed off, and that she was ready to break the heart of Dasharatha. Dasharatha was begging on the floor. Try to think now, a monarch who's respected by thousands, he has all the opulences, and now he's reduced to a pile on the ground, crying, shedding tears. Now, Dasharatha is also caught up. We're trying to understand Dharma. He's a king, and the Kshatriyas, their promise is as good as their life. Their word is their bond. Unlike these days, we may sign even 11 pages and initial them. Still, when it's time to keep the promise, people are trying to run out of the contract. No, but you signed. No. Those days, that type of personality, if I say I will do something, consider it done. They were so virtuous. So now, he promised her these boons. So by Kshatriya code, he must honor them. But now what she wants, who can give this? Ram. He's sinless, he's pure, he's loved, he's our life. Banish him to the forest. With his feet so soft, he's a cheese boy, a prince raised in the palace, eating ghee and butter and sandesh and rabri. He couldn't take it. But she was not going to change her mind. So Dasharatha, confused, crying. He didn't know what to do. Ram came, he saw the situation. What's going on? Dasharatha couldn't even utter a single word except just Ram. Kaikeyi immediately told him, your father, he promised me these benedictions, and now he's fulfilling them, that you are to go to the forest, be banished. And the character of Ram shines through. He accepts, it will be my honor to fulfill the order of my father. When Dasharatha hears this, it is another step to his heart. Because Rama didn't want to do this. But I'm forced to do this. This woman, who I thought was my wife, has turned out to be a poisonous snake. And she has sunk her fangs into my skin, and that poison is coursing into my heart, and I can't even breathe. What calamity has befallen us? And Ram says to her, I thought that you were my mother. I thought you took me as a son. But maybe I was mistaken. So Kaikeyi is thinking, now we have to defend ourselves. But then Ram says, actually, if you actually took me to be your son, and you wanted this kingdom, you just should have come and asked me. I would have given it gladly. Kaikeyi is just now devastated. What is going on here? But she has to hold firm, because she has to protect her son. Ram says, it is not a problem to me. Actually, let us do it immediately. Anything which is important, the honor of my father must be upheld. So here we find a lot of difficulties, because these persons, Ram, he should have just told her, you're a crazy woman, forget this. You're not going anywhere. By law of primogeniture, I'm supposed to be king. My father has already declared this. Even if you ask Bharat, he doesn't care for this kingdom. You would have made so many rightful claims. No. Dharma for him is that the father is as good as God, his guru. The son's right to call himself a son is that he obeys the instructions of the father. So Ram was off to prepare for leaving. And word had gone out to summon Bharat because now he has to become the next king. So Bharat has come. He comes into Ayodhya, and Ayodhya feels like a ghost town. He's thinking, what's going on? Everything has lost its luster. So he's thinking some calamity must have happened. He's running into the palace. He goes to see his mother. Mother, what has happened? Why is everything looking like it's a ghost town? So Kaikeyi, she had imagined from the mother's perspective that I am protecting my son. He's not here. They're about to cheat him from the kingdom. When Bharat comes, he's going to be so happy. What a mother I am, because I secured his position. So she had imagined his response to be so positive. When Bharat heard, he was, what type of a demon are you? What have you done? You are trying to end our dynasty. I thought you were my mother, but all along I've accepted a witch. You can imagine his anger was rising more and more, that he was thinking, forget this Kshatriya code, which is still carrying on these days. Nah? You should never put your hands on a woman. He was thinking to even beat his own mother. But he thought, let it come out through his words. So he just gave it to her. Actually, from today onwards, I don't accept you as my mother. Where is father? Where is father? He should reverse this whole situation. When he went to see Dasarat, Dasarat was no more. Dasarat could not live with this pain that because of his promise, he has banished Ram to go to the forest. He literally left his body from feeling guilt. So when Bharat found out, he was devastated. And he kept on reassuring Ram, look, I don't want this kingdom. It belongs to you. Forget what my mother has schemed. You take up the kingdom. You are the rightful king. Ram said, no. It was my father's wish, and I have to uphold his wish. And I'm going tomorrow to the forest. Lakshman also could not take this. He came to Ram to plead with him. Do not do this. Just stay here. Ram also would not hear him. He said, we don't want to be known as the dynasty who does not follow the orders of the king. It was his dying wish that I become banished from the forest. In fact, it is the will of destiny that this should take place. So we were thinking, why God is not just rectifying the situation? He's God, he should just tell what is the right way to do. But the pastimes of the Lord are such that, as he says, Janma Kama Chame Divyam Evam Yaveti Tatvata. Jaktva Deham Puna Janman Netimam Etiso Arjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my activities, of my birth in this world, Krishna is telling Arjuna, then he does not take birth again in this mature world. So the Lord has come to perform these pastimes, which by their very nature, they draw our attention in. We become so involved that one Mataji was saying that actually I don't want a husband like Ram. I'd like to have a husband like Ravana. knows what's she all about. And she was saying, no, this Ram, he banished Sita. Sita had been proven pure. And even after she was proven pure, he banished her. At that time also she was pregnant. So what type of a husband is this? Of course, it is a view from the external. Not really understanding, even the word to banish is a bit too harsh. Because Ram, as a king, has all these duties, these layers of dharma that he had to uphold. Initially, people were gossiping. She has been away from home with this demon somewhere for so long. Now Ram has accepted her. This is not good. And so Ram had arranged to prove her purity. But then again, he's walking around, he finds some low-class person also talking to his wife. Hey, Wena, you think you can just go and come back tomorrow and I will accept you? I'm not like that Ram who's handpicked by Sita. Get out of here. Yeah, those standards these days, there would be no family life. Huh? But that was the case. Ram heard this, and Ram now, he has to uphold Dharma. The people want to see the example from the king. And one of the opulences of the king is detachment. He has to show that he is not attached. Secondly, if people doubt the king, then there is no example that can be followed. Because it said, the king, what to speak of the king's wife is supposed to be above suspicion. Even the Romans will still continue. The Caesar's wife should be beyond suspicion. So Ram, he made provisions that she stays in the ashram, that there were also other older ladies there to take care of her because she was pregnant. It's not that she was kicked out into some forest. Sita, although she was heartbroken, also she could understand somewhere that Ram must do this because he's holding to Dharma. And Ram, he could have just accepted another wife. But to show that he was still completely chaste as she was chaste to him, he stayed without a wife. Even to perform yagyas, they said, you cannot perform a yagya without your wife there. So Ram commissioned the deity of Sita to be carved. And the standards of purity for a yagya to be successful are so exacting. So he considered that deity of Sita to be as pure and as good as Sita, that he performed those yagyas with her by his side. Anyway, this Mataji was thinking, well, Ravana, he came to the rescue of his sister Supranaka when he heard that she had been victimized by Lakshman and Ram. But that wasn't Ravana's main business, actually. He came there, and as soon as he had heard from Supranaka, because she wanted to get him, hey, you go and revenge, they've done me wrong, go and find this Ram. But then Ravana is so engrossed in his own sense gratification, he wouldn't do it. So Supranaka had described the beauty of Sita. And when Ravana was hearing about the beauty of Sita, that's when his interest started to be piqued. And he went there so that he can get this woman that's been described to be so beautiful for himself. But externally, one who doesn't understand these things may think, this Ram's so bad, so bad. Ravana, yes, he's protecting his family. Better a husband like Ravana. But this is miscalculation. So the example of Lord Ramachandra is very difficult to follow for us mere mortals and residents of Kali Yuga. But ultimately, these pastimes, when we hear them, they are meant to give us the strength spiritually, or the muscle, to try and practice to purify ourselves. And this hearing has to lead to purification. And when purification is there, then we're able to put into practice higher and higher principles. Without purification, then one cannot act beyond their current conditioning. So the principle throughout the scriptures is the Shravana. We have to give our ear to the activities in relation to the Lord, the name of the Lord. And in that way, we become sufficiently interested in that very Lord. We remember the incident of, we're talking about her in the car, just so that you are back informed. Rukmini. Rukmini had never seen Krishna, but she had heard different personalities who came to see her father discuss Krishna. One of them is Narada Muni. So describing the qualities of Krishna, and just by hearing about Krishna, she fell in love with Krishna. That she decided, I want to be married to Krishna. Although her brother Rukmi had made arrangement that she should be married to Shishupal, she didn't want that to happen. And considering the context of the time, it was unheard of that a chaste lady would propose or declare her feelings to another man. But she didn't care about that. That her whole being had become attracted to Krishna. She wrote a letter, gave it to the priest, the Brahmana. You take it to Krishna. And Krishna, in case he is in doubt, should I do this or not, Rukmini had prepared all directions. When you should come, I will be leaving to the temple of Kaikeyi, of Durga Devi. And at that time, all the warriors are not around, it's just the ladies. So if you come at that time, you can come and kidnap me. And in that way, in the Rakshasa style of marriage, I become your wife. So point is hearing. From hearing about Krishna's qualities, she developed that attraction that led her to beg Krishna to come and kidnap her and make her a wife. So the pastimes of the Lord are to be heard, and heard from the proper sources. That's why we mentioned that the Srimad Bhagavatam is the safest place to hear of this Leela. And then within this Ramayana, then you will find so many lessons on so many levels that we can pick up. We hear of two brothers also within this Leela. How are we for time? Almost.
We're supposed to stop at 1:30, but you can go on.
Okay, we'll just do another 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We have these two Simeon brothers, Sugriva and Vali. They were the best of friends, and they were always together. It happened that Vali, as the elder, there are of course divine connections with them. They're sons of demigods. So powerful, Indra's son, he likes to fight. Some other demon came to challenge, a fight broke out. They fought until they were stuck in some cave. Sugriva was there to see if there's some cheating he could help. He's listening for many hours, no sounds. He's waiting, his brother is not coming. He's thinking, if this demon has killed my brother, if he's killed my brother, that means he's so powerful. If he makes it out of this cave, he's going to cause so much havoc. So he puts a boulder and plugs the cave and goes back to the kingdom to take up the duties of his brother. which was natural. Then Vali comes, he finds this rock plugging the cave. He calculates, oh, Sugriva, okay, that's where your mind was at, okay. He locked me in here, this rascal, he's trying to kill me. And so Vali, with whatever strength was left, he finally got out of that cave. And when he got back, he found that that's been weeks now. Sugriva is king, and Sugriva has also accepted the wife of his brother, which was part of the tradition. And so Vali just said, okay, yes, of course, this is what was on about. And immediately leaped on him, to give him a few what have yous. That was it. Sugriva had to run for his life. And it became, from two best friends, inseparable, now they were not even trying to see each other. Sugriva was hiding. He heard of a curse that was there for Vali, so he went to this part of the forest where it was said if he ever came there, he would drop dead gorgeous, finish. So both of them didn't get the time to really share their stories of exactly what happened. Sugriva miscalculated. My brother, he should have won this easy. It's been so long, I can't hear any of his shouts. So he thought, let me protect the citizens. If he's dead, let the demon die. So he did his part. Naturally, he has to continue. Vali, he closed the door to the cave. He's trying to take my position. So then they become fierce enemies. But all of this leads Sugriva to live there in fear. He's hiding. When Ram and Lakshman come, seeing them, they look like Brahmanas, but they're carrying weapons. Maybe Vali has sent them to come and kill me. So he wants to hide. But Hanuman is thinking, no, because Sugriva is living in fear. So the fear colors your eyes. Even where there's security, you are seeing so many insecurities. Hanuman he was curious. They look interesting. But anyway, because we were in hiding, also Hanuman hid his form. You have shapeshifters in the Ramayana. Hanuman is one of them. So he shapeshifted to a Brahmana to go meet Ram and Lakshman. And when he heard who they were and what their mission was to try and find Sita, then he showed himself. And Ram said, oh, Hanuman, you are my eternal servant. But then you were hiding yourself from me, so I'm hiding myself from you. Some of us also hide ourselves from the Lord. And still expect that the Lord will be manifest in our lives. Like Prabhupada said, someone is pretending to be sleeping. You cannot wake up that person. Because they hear you, but they're just pretending that I'm asleep. So this ISKCON movement is this big alarm clock. Speaker after speaker. You're not this body. You're the soul. You're the eternal servant of Krishna. You're bound by the laws of nature. Davyesha Gunamahi, Mama Maya, Duratyaya. Very difficult to get out of the clutches of Maya. You've accepted this false identity. You're looking for happiness where there is none. You are in a mass consensual trance, seeing a drop of illusory happiness to be the all in all. There is a process. Take up the chanting of the holy name. Rise early. Chant your rounds. There's a minimum round. Some we have accepted vows, taken initiation, but we are estranged to our bead bag. Or sometimes we didn't sleep too late and we do pick up that bag. But then we are chanting and discussing with everyone else in the house. So speaker after speaker, we have to take up austerity. We have to be serious because the problem is very deep. And to solve it requires some energy. But then we hear it, but we're snoozing the alarm. No, I'll get up. In 2 years' time, I'll be better. Or when I retire, I'll take up my chanting properly. When I move closer to the temple. So there's always excuses. The mind is like a good spin doctor. It gives you a nice way to rationalize what you should do, what you shouldn't do. So we hide ourselves from the Lord and we expect the Lord to show himself. Ram told Lakshman, Hanuman, you are hiding yourself. So I also hid myself from you. But Hanuman was happy. Oh, your mission is to find Sita. You are also an enemy of Ravana. He's been terrorizing the Brahmanas. He went to tell Sugriva, no, these are friendlies. In fact, he needs our help. You have a whole kingdom full of monkeys. Let's band with Ram and let's go help him find Sita. So from his position of suffering and fear, he was now up high because he had come in contact with the Supreme Lord who is feared by fear personified. So as the weeks go, as we hear about this Leela, meditation on who the Lord is, even from a selfish point of view, what we're going to get by hearing, we should think, by coming closer to Krishna, Krishna is free from problems. That's why he's got flute. He's enjoying. We want to enjoy, yes? Yes? You want to enjoy?
Yes.
It's not a trick question. In Krishna consciousness, there's nothing wrong with enjoyment. But there's two types, legal and illegal enjoyment. So you have to know which is legal. And then once you know what is the legal enjoyment, go for it. We're enjoying chanting the holy name. If we don't take up the chanting, and then we feel, I'm not enjoying this chanting, how will you enjoy it if you don't chant? And in fact, this enjoyment is not just that we are gratifying our senses, it's a byproduct of being in contact with Krishna. So we are being in contact with Ram throughout this week, next week, through hearing. Unlimited pastimes, unlimited room for enjoyment. So in the absence of the Lord in our lives, he becomes present through remembrance of him. This remembrance comes when we hear of him. Then he lives with us always. So we hope that more and more we can get to know the reasons behind the different activities of the Lord, which sometimes bewilder us. If we try to hear, then we will understand. Then we won't come to the wrong conclusions and end up thinking better husband than Ravana, or husband over Ram. So thank you for coming today and for giving an ear. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Is there anyone who would like to make any comment? I heard that Pretoria is famous for asking 10,000 questions to speakers. Or any part of the Ramayana you just want to remember before we close that you like.
I just want to comment on something you spoke about Ram. So my understanding is that Ram had a position, he upheld his position, although he banished Sita, he had like a role, so he had to follow his constitutional position in that position. Because as you said, what were the people, they would keep on speculating. On a human level, I guess it's a little bit uncompassionate because that's a living entity also. But to me, Ram is just a man of honor, and he did his best to make everyone happy. So, like even Krishna had so many endeavors, but he endeavored, and he just did the best he could.
Yes, so Ram sacrificed.
Yeah.
This is his eternal concept that he had to take from the comforts. After all these years, he had found it, and now he had to protect it at a different place. Also, the ethical reasons. You see, you could say morality would mean wrong and right. You're trying to choose which to follow. And then the ethics is two things which are right, which to follow. So both are dharma that he is following, but in either one that he chooses, still it causes pain. He keeps her, then there's all this blasphemy that he accepted her and she's supposed to have become impure. At the same time, she's completely pure, eternally so. He knows it, and anyone who's got good sense and all knows it. That person's a low-class person. But he's a king. So now he's caught up what to do. And so this Karunya Rasa in the Ramayana is there, where we get to see the Lord seemingly suffering. You know, normal stories, what happens? There's some separation, the hero goes and then finds her princess, and then they live happily ever after. Now, after all this, we were all following the story. Finally, he got her. And then still, he has to not stay with her and seemingly banish her. And while she's pregnant, so it's very painful. But if it's heard properly, then you understand that at a spiritual level, Ram is also offering to Sita the enjoyment of love and separation. At the level of politics, as a king, he has to administer the kingdom in a certain way. Jai Sri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Jai. So there's many levels of what's going on. Yeah. But I appreciate that you can sympathize that, you know, he's trying to do his best in the position he's in. So when we understand him from the different layers, his humanity, his divinity, as a king, and as a husband, we see that so many duties are there in these different roles that are embodied in this one individual. Okay, we have run out of time. Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi.